What's up, guys? George Balekji here with Foxborough Rush. But hey, check out the latest episode of Hold My Banner. Golden State Valkyries, yes, the 13th team in the WNBA, going to make their debut in 2025 as an expansion franchise. Well, head coach Natalie Nakaze stopped by Hold My Banner for a long convo talking with Travis Thomas and Ante Campbell about how she got the job with the Golden State Valkyries, learning from guys like Joe Mazzulla, who she shadowed coaching under Doc Rivers. Awesome convo. Long convo. That's on Hold My Banner with Natalie Nakaze, wherever you get your podcasts. That episode just dropped, so check it out. But when you're done with Rush, so let's get to Foxborough Rush. What's up? What's happening? George Balekji here. He's Keagan Stiefel. Keegs, remote Rush today. I kind of like it. Fully remote, eh?
That's right. Yeah, fully remote for me. I'm hanging out on the couch. I was telling Trav yesterday, we did the spread together. Got the 2 TV setup going on. A lot of college basketball. Just watching Duke players tear their ACLs all over the place.
Is that what happened with Cooper Flagg?
No, he messed up his ankle. That was aggressive. Okay. I came in hot.
Jesus, man. Yeah, don't worry. Scare me like that. But I mean, you're coming in remote from Salem. I'm coming in remote from New Jersey. The 2 pillars of society, as they call them, those 2 exact locations. Right. We got a packed rush for you guys. A lot of stuff coming out of Foxborough, Massachusetts. Of course, Patriots held the introductory pressers for the big free agent signings. Robert Spillane, Morgan Moses, Carlton Davis, Milton Williams all spoke, as did Robert Kraft, Elliot Wolf, Mike Vrabel. We'll have some sound from Vrabel, some Morgan Moses sound, and plenty of other players as well. We're going to get into all that, talking about David Andrews. Also, the shocking release, but again, Mike Vrabel shedding some light in a way of what into that. And we'll also take a little look projecting, I guess you could say, the leadership that will be coming up for the Patriots. So Keegs, let's get right into it, man. Let's start with, they hold the free agency press conference, and it's a big day for the Patriots. I mean, they went out, I said this on the last episode of Rush. I was beyond excited. I was just exceeded expectations, pleasantly surprised with how they did it. You expect them to spend money. Mike Vrabel wasn't going to be like, yeah, it's all good. Kick my feet up. Whatever's good for the team. Yeah, Robin, Jonathan, don't worry about it. Like, that's not it. That's what it was last year. Well, Mike Vrabel came in. He set the precedent. He knows his demands. He knows his standards. And that's a guy that wouldn't have taken the job if he had one arm tied behind his back, especially when it came to free agency. They go out. They spend a lot of money. But for a team that was awful at rushing the passer, sacks, pressures, address the pass rush. For a team that was awful at stopping the rush, address the run defense with Harold Landry and Robert Spillane, not just getting an off-ball linebacker. For a team that was simply overmatched all the time by opposing wide receivers, they got bigger and deeper in their cornerback room with Carlton Davis. And they introduced him. Big day. Vrabel was excited. Kraft was excited. But Keeps, before we start throwing to that sound, man, when you saw this all go down and free agency's not done, it won't end until the season kicks off in reality, from legal tampering to where it is now, what was your overall assessment, you'd say, of how the free agency went down, legal tampering period?
Good start, right? Like, they addressed some of the many needs that they had. I think it would have been impossible for them to address all of them. Like, you needed, in all reality, 3 at the time, and now 4 offensive linemen, starting offensive linemen. You need a wide receiver 1. You needed to add cornerback depth. You needed basically depth on all 3 levels of the defense, whether it be off-ball linebacker, on-ball linebacker, interior defensive line, cornerback. I'd still like to see them get a safety. So with the amount of needs that they had, I do like what they started with. I still think there needs to be more. They've got around $69 million left in cap space, I believe it is. Like, they've got money to spend. So Let's see how they do that. There are some guys who are coming available, the Cooper Kupps of the world. I don't know how they'll address those needs, but I'd like to see them continue to move. But so far, so good.
Over the cap, effective cap space, $95 million. It's just like numbers are still coming out. I don't know anything right now. I hate not knowing stuff.
I follow Miguel Benzan, I believe. Patch Cap on Twitter. He's on Blue Sky. So you got to get over to Blue Sky. Effective cap space versus like cap space that they actually have are 2 different numbers. I'm not sure which one's better. His number was around $70 million, I thought. So maybe it's even more than that. I might be wrong.
Blue Sky downloading now. You got to explain to me Discord another time. Yeah, I'm on
not
Discord.
A Discord guy.
I don't get it.
I got on Blue Sky because Twitter decided to go down the second that legal tampering just went into effect. Twitter went down, so there was no way of getting the news. I already had a Blue Sky account just for backup purposes, and I've been on there the last couple of days. I don't hate it.
Look at that. I was on Threads, so plugging everything but X right now. All right, but so he brings that up. They have the effective cap space left, $69 million. I hate the reports, Keegs, by the way, of like that. Well, Cam Robinson, character issues. Dude, the whole reason you brought in Mike Vrabel is he takes those guys and he gets the best out of them. But let's start with, it would be big if you added Cam Robinson to this offensive line room. Because as you mentioned, it's up in the air of who they're starting for. I think starting 3. I think on Wynn, who starts at right guard, Morgan Moses at right tackle. But still, they released David Andrews. Mike Vrabel spoke about this. Let's throw it to her right here. Here's Vrabel on the decision, what went into letting David Andrews go.
No, I think that there's a lot there, Karen. You mentioned David and want to thank him. Having played at this organization, not quite as long as he had, but being here, I want to thank him for that, for being here and carrying on a tradition that so many great players before him had. We're going to continue to support, as Elliot mentioned, the needs that we feel like are on the team, and we'll target the offensive line. There's still quite a bit of time before we get to the draft. But there's also, we don't want to just be careless, right? We talked about there's a difference. We want our players to play aggressive. We don't want them to play reckless. And so we don't want to be reckless through this process. We want to be very intentional with the people that we bring on this football team. And we'll continue to target all those needs that we feel like and the players that can help us.
So that's Mike Vrabel after releasing David Andrews on Friday. This is also just right after Jonathan Jones and Dietrich Wise signed 1-year deals with the Washington Commanders. Only players left from the last Super Bowl winning team for the Patriots: Joe Cardona, the long snapper; Juwan Bentley, a linebacker, who doesn't exactly fit this defensive scheme. We'll get into that. So by all we know, Cardona could be the only one left. Keegan, what did you think of the news of releasing David Andrews? And then what do you make of the comments right there by Mike Vrabel mentioning, and this isn't about David Andrews, we don't want to be reckless with spending. To me, that's more of talking about a Cam Robinson-esque guy. But what did you make of the release and Vrabel's comments we heard on Friday?
Yeah, release wasn't totally surprising to me. There had been, rumblings that it might go down. The first thing I thought was he must be retiring. This must be a way of, you get him his guaranteed money. You also get some money off the books if you release him before he retires. And then he goes and he announces it, whatever it might be, a week down the road, 2 weeks, a month, whatever it is. Now, from him, David Andrews putting out something on social media just saying, I'll always be a Patriot. The whole way they've gone about this is weird, because from the Patriots' perspective, it seems like he's retiring. And from his perspective, it seems like, all right, see you later. I'm going to go move on somewhere else. So until I figure out what's going on with David Andrews, I don't really know what to feel, because if he doesn't retire and he continues to play and he goes somewhere else, very odd way of going about it, with the thanking him and congratulating him on a great career, and the hype videos and all the stuff that they've been posting. Very odd, in my opinion. Yeah,
that's what jumped out to me too. I think he was cut straight up. I don't think he saw it coming. Yeah. I don't think it made sense. He even said last season, after week 4, he was done with that shoulder injury. He's like, this is a risky surgery I'm going into, but if it works, it works. And he did have comments in the offseason being like, everything went as planned. I'm good. And I know this was a guy, you go back 2 seasons. So before he returned for the 2024 season, and he said, look, I'm going to go home. I'm going to hang out on my farm. I'm going to sit on my tractor. I'm going to hang out with my son. I'm going to drink beer, and I'm going to think about it. And that was his return, which I just loved, how candid that was of the plan. He wasn't going to say, I got a lot to think about. He was just like, this is what I'm going to do. And I love the simplicity. I'm going to go mow my lawn. And when I'm done mowing my lawn, do I want to still work out? That's the way I took it. And he did. I think that's still there for him. I think this was clunky. I think the Patriots messed up. I think this was also maybe a meeting in the middle where David Andrews wanted to play. Patriots probably wanted a restructure. He wasn't about that. He's like, no, dude, I've given my all. I've won 2 Super Bowls. I'm an undrafted free agent. I've returned from blood clots for you guys. I've done everything. I am a leader. I am worth and he wasn't carrying a heavy cap hit at all. I am worth the price for what you need. Later in the presser, Vrabel was asked about, the cutting of David Andrews and all that. And his answer was along the lines of, when you go through personnel, you talk age, ability, durability, production. David Andrews played 97% of snaps or more the 6 seasons before last, when he only played 4 games. Then he was asked again, was it injury related? And Vrabel was like, not going to get into specifics, going to celebrate the players that are here. I think David Andrews, there's a red flag medically. I think he was willing to take the risk. And I think the Patriots were like, dude, they're not up for it. I don't agree with it. That's the tough part with all of this. And that's what the big disconnect is, Keegan, because Leadership matters. And this is a guy that you've known covering the team, practice days, training camp, after games. I'm one that covered them after back-to-back 4-win seasons when they were downright terrible. First guy out there, no matter who the quarterback was, it was Mac Jones or Drake May. I'm being really nice by calling Mac Jones Mac Jones. If it was either one of them two, he was out there taking all the answers, taking all the bullets, being very candid, being very honest, being accountable, recognizing how dire the situation was. And honestly, giving more to the fans than they were getting from their Hall of Fame head coach, from their starting quarterback, and from anyone else really on the team, including ownership. I think that says a lot about David Andrews. He handled the media really well. Never really said anything you shouldn't say. He just called it like it is, and I think that's what's needed today. That's why this really shocked me, Keegs. I agree with you. The way they're going about it, it's thanks for everything, David. And he's probably no, I'm going to latch onto a team that needs me. I'm going to find an offensive line that needs a center, and I'm going to go that route. So, yeah, and this is the thing, man. If he was going to play, he's going to play. Because right now, Keegan, it's Ben Brown and Cole Strange on their depth chart for centers. Yeah. That's ugly. That's scary.
It doesn't produce confidence, for sure. And from David Andrews, like you said, we've both been around the team. I don't think there are many guys in that locker room that were more respected, not just by his peers, but by the media, and with the obligations that he had and everything that he did throughout his time in New England. The utmost respect for the human being, David Andrews. But from the Patriots' perspective, with where they're at, I can understand wanting to move on. Again, like I said, going about it in the way they have is a little weird to me, but wanting to move on from a guy who, 2 season-ending injuries, 1 season never even started within the last 5 years. And he's getting to a point in his age where offensive linemen either break down permanently or they figure out a way to continue moving on, and they play a really long time. I don't think it's in the Patriots' best interest to gamble with that. I think trying to find a replacement and just moving in a new direction is the right way of going. There have been reports since they released him on Thursday that they did go out and they tried to sign some of the top centers on the free agent market. They, obviously the former Falcon center, I'm blanking on the name right now, but he went to Chicago, and there were other guys that they targeted that they weren't able to sign. So they've been looking for a replacement. Are they going to find one this offseason? I'm not sure. Cole Strange and Ben Brown, yikes. I don't know if you want to go into a season expecting Cole Strange, who can't stay healthy, and Ben Brown, who was cut before he became your starting center last year, to battle it out and be your center for your young quarterback. I don't know about that, but I understand wanting to move on and move into a fresh direction. And we'll talk about it later with the Jonathan Jones and Dietrich Wise, just all these leaders leaving the building. I can understand where the Patriots are coming from. It's just the way they've gone about it. And I think that's been a problem for them the last 3 or 4 years.
Yeah, Dietrich Wise, the second they hired Terrell Williams, I saw that coming. He's a completely different type of defensive lineman. Does not fit what Terrell Williams wants to run at all. He is the 3-4 defensive end, and you've seen, different variations of it, but I'm going to hold on to the blockers. The outside linebacker to my left is going to go get the quarterback or running back. That's how he is. He's not a pass rusher, but he's a leader. That one made sense. Jonathan Jones, that was a pipe dream for me. I really like him as a locker room presence. Again, a guy that held accountable for a team that was downright awful. A guy that came in as an undrafted free agent. He's a Mike Vrabel type of guy. I don't know what the price was. And for a guy like Jonathan Jones that never necessarily got paid, go get the bag. Do I want to see him return to Patriot? But I also wanted him to do what's best for him, even if that's not best for the Patriots. That's how I looked at the situation. You mentioned it for him, David Andrews will be 33. The big part is all of that is the guys they got in the room, and they only saved $2.6 million on the cap. It wasn't, you have all this money. Who are you going to get? Long off season ago. Who are they going to get? That's guys like a Milton Williams. Here's Mike Vrabel talking about what attracted the Patriots to pursue Milton Williams, who was the biggest signing of free agency this summer.
Well, I think it's always about the entire package. When you look at compensation, right? It's the body of work. It's what they're going to do for us. We always want to be able to, not rely on past performances. But that was something. There's a high ceiling and a great vision about the person, the effort, the skill set, the speed in which he plays. There's a power. So certainly there's an aggressiveness, and being able to add him to our defensive line is something that was really exciting. But you talk about the character, and hopefully we're going to be able to. I hope you want to play more than they played in Philadelphia, and I know that you guys were extremely successful, but we want to play them a little bit more than that, and hope we can do that. You just try to you do your best in a short amount of time to make a connection with the player and kind of what we are, right? We don't want to sell anything. Like, what we want to sell is just who we are. It's not, we want them to want to be here, and then if they want to be here and we want them, we'll figure out a way to make it work contractually. But we want people and players that want to be here, that want to be a part of what we're doing, and that's what these guys are, and there'll be more that come along after them.
So that's Mike Vrabel talking about Milton Williams. Of course, Milton Williams, 4 seasons with the Eagles, never played more than 50% of snaps in a season, wasn't a starter, had Fletcher Cox, Javon Hargrave, Jalen Carter all playing next to him as an interior pass rusher, benefited a ton. This is a guy, though, that's young, really good, Keagan, gets after the quarterback, had led all interior defensive linemen in pressure rate, had 54 total pressures, graded by PFF as a top pass rusher for interior defensive linemen. Again, it's just the volume of work. What do you make of Vrabel's comments here? What do you see with Milton Williams, Keegs?
I love the idea of, I understand that you didn't do it. You haven't done it before. You haven't played more than 50% of the snaps. You've had all these great talents around you. I get all that. I love Mike Vrabel in front of everybody being like, by the way, I hope you're ready to go. Like, I hope you're ready to play 80% of the snaps this year, whether it be against the run, against the pass, whether you're playing next to Christian Barmore or not. Like, we still don't have a resolution to that situation. The Patriots are going to lean on this guy. And when you pay somebody the highest contract in the history of the organization outside of a quarterback, you're going to lean on him. That's just the way things go. And I think he understands that. We heard him talk after, and he kind of said, it's really cool. It's cool to feel wanted and feel like you're going to be a big part of something moving forward. And I think he's ready to take on that challenge. He's a guy, me and you talked about it before going into free agency. He was number 1 on my list, and I know he was high on yours because this is the kind of player who can change an entire defense, specifically when it's a Terrell Williams, Mike Vrabel style defense where all of the onus is put on the defensive line. Like, you need to get after the quarterback. You need to be disruptive in the backfield against the run. And really, the linebackers are there to clean things up. Your secondary is there to give you time to get after the passer. But they want to take the ball away. They want to set offenses back and put them in bad down and distance situations. And I think he's the kind of player who can do that. There's no doubt in my mind that he's going to be phenomenal this year. I think he's going to be, by the end of the year, PFF, whatever you look at to grade defensive lineman, he's going to be a top 10, top 5 kind of guy. What can they do around him? Still a question mark in my mind. But the way things are set up right now on that defensive line, Keon White's still going to be there. Christian Barmore, if he's ready to go and he's healthy. Harold Landry. Anthony Jennings is a forgotten name. Really like what they're doing up front. I think they're going to have a lot of success in this new defensive system.
Yeah, and Oso Odigizua played, I think, 70% of snaps this past season. Ali McNeil never hit more than 70% of snaps played for the Detroit Lions. Ali McNeil, Milton Williams, same draft class, by the way. Oso Odigizua, too.
Yeah.
You would take any of those guys.
Like 10 picks. They were
Isn't
all
that
back to back to back. Yeah. 3,
greatest
Pro Bowl level.
Greatest interior defensive line draft class ever. I need to look back on that. But I look at those numbers where it's like the people that complain about that. And I understand too the arguments of, well, you're playing next to Jalen Carter. Yeah, he saw a lot of one-on-ones. You know what he did with those one-on-ones? He won. High pressure rate. He's kicking guys' asses. And your point, Keagan, I love that. He's the linchpin. Every defense has a linchpin. He's the linchpin of the defensive line. If he takes on a center and a guard every single snap, and that's Christian Barmore if he's back and healthy. If that's Keon White, who's a great 3-tech pass rusher, could play in the 4-eye spot, so just on the inside shoulder of an offensive tackle or be outside. To me, he's going to be such a volatile piece in a good way of how they use him. I'm interested. He could be an off-ball linebacker. He could be a 3-tech. He could be that UFO defender. Keagan, of course, you compared him to J.J. Watt. You said he's going to be a Hall of Famer first ballot one day anyway. That's what I love about Milton Williams is sure, he saw the one-on-ones. He was winning. Eventually, he was getting double-teamed. And if he's the guy getting double-teamed now, if he doesn't have the same numbers, that's not about the defensive tackle position is so interesting. It's not about sacks. It's not all about pressures. He does that. But you would take Jalen Carter over every defensive tackle in the NFL, not named Dexter Lawrence or Quinnen Williams, pretty much, and Chris Jones. Jalen Carter gets the double teams. He doesn't have the pressures. He doesn't have the sacks. He doesn't have those numbers. So that's a big part. And Keegan, I love that too. Like, I think Vrabel in real time realized it too. He's like, oh, wait, there's a room full of people. I'm not talking just Milton. He's like, be prepared, buddy. You're going to play. And then he kind of like, pivoted to, let me talk to everyone in the room. Like, that's our expectation. You get paid. I like that, what he brings up on Milton. He just brings everything he can bring. It's versatility. It's really important. Like, he is crucial for a defense and a defensive line that's he's crucial for a modern day NFL all around. You have to blow up the middle of the pocket, but you need to wreak havoc with 4 down defensive linemen, and that's it. No blitzing. But you need a guy like a Milton Williams. Barmore is that guy. I just don't know if they're going to have him. And it's going to be scary to see him next to Barmore.
Listen, it doesn't matter what you see on his Pro Football Reference page. That's not what you're looking for out of him. You're looking for him, whether he's seeing the double teams or he's taking advantage of one-on-ones because Christian Barmore is going to be seeing the double teams. They can't double everybody, right? So you put those two guys next to each other. One of them is going to have a one-on-one with an interior offensive lineman. And with the way those two guys play, I'm going to take them over the offensive lineman 9 out of 10 times. So by signing him and having trust that Christian Barmore is going to be there, if they're both able to play, they're going to find success no matter who the one actually getting after the passer is and who's seeing the double teams. I think that's why you sign a guy like this, because you're setting not only him up for success because he's so talented, but all of the people around him because they're going to be put into better situations and better, pass rushing roles. Keon White's going to be able to rush from a 3-tech instead of a 5-tech like he did last year with Devon Gottschall in the system they were running. It's a really smart way of building out your defensive line.
Smart. Simple. They did everything right. They met the expectations and exceeded them. Yeah. Guy also too, like, doesn't take lightly. Like, I'm the highest paid player ever. I think Doug Kyde asked him, how do you build off that? You never played. He's like, I'm just going to work hard. That's all it is. One guy that Mike Vrabel is very familiar with signed him out of the draft as a UDFA, recruited him actually when he was in college. That's Robert Spillane. And Keegan, I love that you brought up, like, the job of a Milton Williams is wreak havoc, linebackers behind you, clean everything up. That's Robert Spillane. He erases plays. If you're near him, he's going to bring you down. Here's Mike Vrabel talking about Robert Spillane right here.
Well, I mean, he was just, you couldn't, we went out to practice and he didn't make any mental errors. He was athletic. He was excellent in this open field tackling drill. Did the same thing the next day, did the same thing on Sunday. It got to be a joke where we would just keep throwing him in and be like, hey, let's see if somebody can make Spillane miss. And then, John Robinson and I were just like, we have to have him on the football team. And I think he's earned the right to be here based on those 3 days. And, Robert may or may not share this story, but we told him, and it was on Mother's Day, and he got to call his mom, and it was pretty special, especially for me being a young football coach or a young head coach, to be able to see a player that had earned the right. Like, we didn't hand him anything. Like, that's what we want for every single player on our team. We want them to earn everything that they get. And that was an example of what he earned his opportunity into the National Football League. So that's no surprise to the career that he's had based on how it started.
So that was Mike Vrabel talking about Robert Spillane. Keegan, absolutely love the simplicity of Mike Vrabel, like, in the heat of summer, bringing this kid in from Western Michigan, I think Spillane went to. And it was like, running back, let's see who makes a miss. And like 3 days, he just didn't do it. He's like, all right, he's a good football player, man. Because you talk to some running backs and like, hey, what makes a running back good? They say it's making guys miss in space. Like, that's the job of a running back. There are going to be 8 defenders. We're going to block 7. You have a one-on-one, make a miss and get us 5+ yards. Spillane doesn't let running ball carriers get by him. I love that. And also the guy too, like, during his presser, he was asked about, how good of a pass defender he is. He's like, I go out to practice every day early 30 minutes and just catch passes. That's how you do it. He was talking about doing spatial awareness drills where he closes his eyes so he just like knows where he's on the field without looking. This guy's an undrafted free agent. He said this stuff didn't happen. He's been intentional about everything in life. That's culture, guys. So as much as we're talking about you're going to miss a David Andrews, you're bringing a guy like a Robert Spillane and you hear Vrabel talk about him right there. These are the dudes you need on a football team. And by the way, Keegan, it's more than like the heartfelt, make you feel good stories. Oh, he worked hard. Nice. He's a really, really good linebacker. And that was a guy that was a captain for the Raiders as well. You go from an undrafted free agent to getting, this is his second contract and a captain. Like, come on, that's really good.
With all due respect to the fun story, the family story, couldn't care less. That's the most football guy conversation like one-sided conversation I've ever heard. Mike Vrabel was like gushing about this guy doesn't let people make him miss. He tackles everything in front of him, and if you're a film weirdo, like I like to fancy myself somebody who likes to watch film after the games and see if I could pick up anything. The art of not missing tackles is lost. Now when you're looking for defensive players, you want disruptive defensive linemen, like we mentioned, and linebackers who can cover, they can get out in space, they can move sideline to sideline. What has been lost is the middle linebacker who can sit there and he can track the ball and he can tackle everything in front of him. I think it's a lost art. And Robert Spillane is that guy. So I'm really excited to see him in this defense. I know Mike Vrabel probably feels the same way about, let me just find a linebacker who does what I ask him to do, and I don't have to worry about him making mistakes. I don't have to worry about him missing tackles. All the things that we've seen in the last couple of years with the Jelani Tavais of the world and all these different linebackers they've brought through to try to play into that 3-4 defense, you're not having to worry about it with a guy like this. So I'm really excited to see him play. I was down on the signing. I still think, Drake Greenlaw was out there and he got the same amount of money essentially. And he is one of those guys who can play sideline to sideline. He's better in pass protection or pass coverage, maybe better as a pass rusher as well. I would have liked to see them make a run for him, but if you want a linebacker who's just going to do what you ask him to do, they got one. And that's a lot to ask for lately out of the Patriots, is finding a linebacker who can just do his job. So I'm excited to see a guy just do his job.
That's the thing, too, of like someone that watches film. Whenever I'd go back and watch Patriots games from last season, it was maddening the amount of missed tackles where defensive line's actually doing their job, or receivers catching a short pass and it should be, let's say 6-yard gain. And you're just like bashing your head into the wall. Now, of course, they didn't have Juwan Bentley, but it's like, Jelani Tavai, you've been a solid pro. You've been here. Where's it coming from? And again, like they had Christian Ellis, who's a special teamer, playing significant time. It's like the Mac Hollins signing. Like, yes, that's a wide receiver for. Yes, Robert Spillane's an older off-ball linebacker. But when you don't have anyone that can really win down the field. You don't have anyone that can beat man. You don't have anyone that just like knows how to get open in the red zone. When you don't have someone that knows how to tackle, it just makes like the small errors become massive, because it's just, again, linebacker's job is to clean it up. So yeah, he was gushing about him. Like, he absolutely loves him. And it's like, yeah, no duh. I'm with you, Keegs. I would have loved Dre Greenlaw. I obviously have the hesitancy with the torn Achilles, but that guy is a alien. He's an absolute athletic freak. Maybe we see the Patriots go after someone in the draft and get someone like that. Here's a fun one, Keegan. So we're talking like levels of the defense now. It's about Milton Williams disrupting the pocket up the middle. It's about Robert Spillane moving sideline to sideline, covering, but also just tackling everything around him. Here's Mike Vrabel talking about, hey, what are you going to do with Carlton Davis opposite of Christian Gonzalez?
Hopefully we can just play cat coverage. Like, you got that cat, I got this cat, and we can go to work. So just an aggressive, I mean, just I would say the thing I appreciate about watching CD is that they may catch a ball on him, and he just lines back up and he competes and he challenges and he tries to play aggressive, and there's a play style that we embrace. And so corners that's a tough position in the National Football League, right? And so they're going to have that passes that are caught on them. It's, can they line back up the next snap and challenge and compete and get their hand on the next football. And that would be, I would say, outside of his physical skill set, is the mental makeup.
I love that. You got him, I got him. Let's go man up. We're going to put our hands on you. We're going to disrupt our timing. And the defensive line's going to get to you in under 3 seconds. That's modern day NFL defense. I love imagining what this defense can be as well, Keegan. I had some great comments. It was on our Ness and Instagram. Make sure to follow that, by the way. But someone basically saying, yeah, but if you draft a Carlton Davis, you're not going to get a Travis Hunter. I'm like, dude, a 4.25, I wanted them to sign Javon Holland, Keegan. I wanted to get a true free safety in there. This is why you want them to draft a Kobe Bryant. Same thinking. Cool, you have a guy that could play free safety. Kobe Bryant would have to be moved to that position. Hey, Justin Simmons is still out there. It'd be a Band-Aid. Javon Holland is young. But let Kyle Duggar be that second linebacker in the box, and you could have 3 big, long corners. Like, that matters. I just love that the vision with the defense is Mike Vrabel is like, we are going to be agitators. We're going to be mother effers. We're going to match up. You know we're going to be covering you with these 2 long, 6'1". Carlton Davis, by the way, 79 plus inch wingspan, just under 80 inches, longer than Will Campbell's, ridiculous. By the way. A long dude. But that's what it's all about. Getting your hands on a receiver, disrupting timing, and it's just, Football's a matter of milliseconds now in the NFL. A good pass blocker, can you keep your guy from the quarterback for 3 seconds? That's all you need. 3.5, that's a win. Like that's what it is. And it's all about getting the timing out. I just love how Vrabel envisions this defense tying together. And he understood the errors in the back end. And Carlton Davis, like he said too, is just a dog. You catch on him, he doesn't care. He's going to line back up and he's going to beat you up.
Yeah, fact of the matter is you have 2 really good cornerbacks, and it's better than not having 2 really good cornerbacks. So from the perspective of the Patriots, yeah, obviously we're going to go sign a great corner. He's going to be making good money, and then by the time we have to pay Christian Gonzalez a ridiculous amount, probably $30 million by the time he's up for an extension, this money is going to be coming off the books, and you'll be able to figure it out from there. From what you said about the Instagram comment, and this is something that I've thought of as well, I think the Carlton Davis signing, more than anything, put forth the idea of we're okay with Travis Hunter. Because Travis Hunter in the modern day NFL, if you want him to be at his very, very, very best, he's playing slot corner. That's what he does. He is so good in the slot. And he might not have the size that you're looking for like a Carlton Davis, but he's long too. And with these bigger slot receivers that we're seeing come out every single year, you need a bigger guy in the slot to play defense. He can get 40 snaps a game, and then offensively, you're looking for a wide receiver 1, and if you're going to be drafting Travis Hunter where you're drafting him, you need him to play both sides of the football to really showcase that value. So this free agency to me has spelt out, specifically if they go and they sign an offensive tackle, which I think they eventually will, whether it's Cam Robinson or not, it's a conversation for another time. But this free agency class was, okay, the missing piece is Travis Hunter. Because if they draft Travis Hunter, their defense is A-okay. They're set. They don't have to worry about anything on that side of the ball. And then they can start to implement him on offensively, whether it's as a wide receiver 1 and he's really getting 25, 30 snaps a game, I don't know. But getting him the ball in design touches, playing him in the slot both ways. This is what you envision for a good Patriots team. I don't know if they'll be good this year, but in the future, you need a guy like that to showcase his value. So for me, Carlton Davis didn't do anything but further solidify the idea of let's go get Travis Hunter and just ball out defensively.
Carlton Davis had the 3rd most snaps on the Detroit Lions team, and he was a starting cornerback. Because it was Terrion Arnold, escaping me who CB2 was for them, and then it was Carlton Davis. That's a modern day NFL. No, Rakestraw was way down there. I'll dig it up for you though. But that's the modern day NFL now. Like that, and that's how it goes. And I think that's really important too, of just how they can line up. And that's the thing too of I understand it. Like when you talk a 4-2-5, it's not 2 linebackers, it's 2 guys in the box. Kyle Duggar, Jabril Peppers, better in the box. Jabril Peppers better at the free safety play than a Duggar, but that's what you want with your defense to be multiple. And again, same person that commented, and I loved the conversation that him and I had, the back and forth. He's like, well, Patriots would get a Nicky Manwari instead of a Travis Hunter. Nicky Manwari's a freak. Yes, he's younger. Yes, he's coming out of draft. Like Kyle Duggar, that's the same type of guy, same build, same all around. That's what it would be. And to your point exactly, if Travis Hunter plays the 3rd most snaps for them on defense, that's great. Because that means he's playing a lot of offense too, and you just have to be able to manage him. I just liked how he brings up Carlton Davis. He just wants the defensive dogs, man. Milton Williams is a dog. Robert Spillane's a dog. Carlton Davis is a dog. Christian Gonzalez, dog. And it's an overused term, but that's what he has at this point, and that's what's important. He's building the team in his vision, and his vision is to be a bunch of mother effers that are going to kick your butt every single down and just wear you down. That's what all Mike Vrabel teams are.
If you watch football closely and you follow along like we do, you've probably heard, nickel defense is the new base. Teams just run nickel defense. They want 5 defensive backs out there. It's starting to even shift more into dime defense is the base. We want 6 defensive backs out there because the Kyle Duggars of the world, the Jabril Peppers of the world can play in the box. They can be that extra. They're technically a safety, but they can play a linebacker spot where they're man up on a tight end or they're playing backside run on defense. So that's what teams are looking to do. They want faster, more physical cornerbacks and safeties out there. And by signing a Carlton Davis and with the guys you already have in the room, you're going to be able to run a little bit more of that than you were last year.
Amik Robertson, that was the number 2 corner snap count for the Lions last year. Rakestraw didn't have the best year. But that's exactly it. It's just you look at Kyle Duggar, and everyone knows he's better in the box. And I like Kyle Duggar a lot as a player. I'll like him healthy. I'll like him without a banged up ankle. And I'll like him playing where he's supposed to be. He's not meant to be a free safety. I keep saying it. Like, I would love Kobe Bryant no matter what long term, and that's a guy you could get, day 3. Justin Simmons as a veteran free safety. You challenged me to it, Keegs. You're like, hey, who's an under the radar? I think he'll lift the floor. I have a affinity for him. I just love him as a player. I thought he was so damn good, man. He just makes a lot of sense. And if it gets Kyle Duggar playing where he's supposed to be, that manages it. Oh, Jesse Bates would be amazing. Hey, big Devin McCourty fans right here, you and I, by the way. Like, I think we both. And that's what you want. You want Devin McCourty, and then Kyle Duggar can be in the box. He's a modern-day linebacker.
And what was Devin McCourty? He was a cornerback who had to move to safety because it just made more sense, not only for him, because, let's be honest, the hips, they weren't moving the way we needed them to be moving, but for the Patriots, it was better for them, and it was better for him. So you can find guys like that where it might be you could play cornerback and safety. Marcus Jones, does he fit in this defense size-wise? Not really, but if you move him back to safety, he might. If he can play the middle of the field, center field. So they have a lot of options, and I think that's what you're looking to do in the offseason is just give yourself as many options as possible.
Quick nugget I picked up from the presser. Vrabel did bring up his free agency group. Mike Vrabel, in this order. Elliot Wolf, this order they were named. Ryan Cowden. Matt Groh, I died inside. Richard Miller. 30 seasons with the Patriots, this guy. He helps manage his salary cap, player costs, contract research, statistical trends, financial and strategic planning. He's a numbers guy. He's a calculator. Nothing against Richard Miller. Good for you, man. Yes. Howie Roseman was a Richard Miller at some point.
Right. What's the draft day?
He was a director
Kevin
of research.
I'm not his girlfriend / whatever. That's the role that we're talking about with this guy.
Kevin Costner, the guy in draft day was dating like his the person that worked for him.
What's her name? Ethan might have to get in our ear on this one. It's Ben Affleck's ex-wife.
Oh, Angelina Jolie?
No,
he
never married.
That's Brad Pitt.
Jennifer Gardner. Ethan was in my ear. Thank you. Jennifer Gardner, her character, the numbers lady. The Patriots have a numbers lady, but he's a guy.
I'm more caught up on the HR violation, but hey, it's the NFL. Hey, if you want to stream the entire Sox season with the Nesson 360 annual plan, available at an all-new reduced price of just $20 a month paid annually. Check it out. And for a limited time, get 4 free tickets to Fenway with your purchase. Visit Nesson360.com to sign up. Shout out Jennifer Gardner. She's just doing commercials now. Like, just good for her. Like, it's Capital. Yeah, it's just Capital One commercial. That's a dream, man.
She found a lane because she's going to be their spokesperson forever, and she'll be getting a check forever. So that's what you want right there.
And that's like working like 1 week a month, I think, at most. Maybe 1 month out of the year.
Maybe.
All right, enough talking showbiz. That's my dream gig, though. By the way, like, love doing this. Game show host. Put me on The Bachelor. Put me on whatever.
Pitch guy.
I would just love to be a game show host. You work like 30 days out of the year at most. Seriously, long hours. But that's my cup of tea. All right. So
Steve
David
Harvey
Andrews. I would love it. Did you ever see that guy's house? Okay, come on, Keegan. David Andrews, I would buy the nicest place in Salem, bro. And you would have a full on guest suite. Yes. It would be that's Keegan's. Back up. That's Keegan's. That's what it would be.
Get out of the Keegan room.
I love our producer.
Talk about David Andrews, please.
Exactly. He wants to murder us. So David Andrews was released. Jonathan Jones with the Commanders. Dietrich Wise no longer with the Pats. Here's Mike Vrabel talking about the release of David Andrews and what he expects from player leadership in 2025.
Well, I think we talk about leadership, and Elliot mentioned a few other players as it relates to Jonathan Jones and Dietrich Wise and David. Happy for those guys that are found other places, and there would be no restriction on leadership as far as age or experience. Like, every one of our players that walks in here or our coaches can act as a leader. So I think when you go through personnel decisions, there's a lot of things that we'll talk about, right? Age, ability, durability, production, vision. And so I would say that, anytime we talk about personnel decisions, that those are going to be some of the things that Ellie and I will talk about.
So he's saying, age doesn't put a cap on. You don't have to be a certain age to be a leader, all this. That's nice. That was a lot of coach speak. That's one of the rare times I was like, Braves, come on. The leadership without it, we'll talk about Morgan Moses in a little bit. Like, that's going to be the guy in the offensive line room. Again, but this just goes back to of like, you had it really cheap, didn't benefit the cap a ton by cutting them. This is where like I go back to, and it's worth the combo to go back to, David Andrews means a lot. If you weren't willing to pay Jonathan Jones, I get it, but still, like, means a lot. And those are guys that matter in the room. They fit the scheme. They would have been good depth pieces. And in the matter of this offensive line, if David was only good for 5 games, I don't care. Your center room is awful right now. That's 5 games of letting a rookie, a Jake Majors, a Jonah Monheim develop. And if their name has to get called, they get called.
Yeah, I wonder when I saw the release and letting Jonathan Jones walk, and Dietrich Wise didn't fit, so it made sense from a personnel standpoint to let him walk. I wonder if this was just kind of one final way of, let's clear house and let's get rid of the guys who have been here, because there comes a certain point where it's beneficial to have, guys who have won, right? And they've been through the multiple systems. They've played for Belichick. They played for Mayo. And now they're playing for Vrabel. You hit a point where maybe that's not so beneficial. And are these guys not preaching the wrong word, right? Not saying like, well, we used to do it this way, but just by going through the system the way they might have 5, 6, 7 years ago, it sets the wrong example. Not intentionally, but that's just the way things happen. If a rookie comes in and they look to, who's the veteran in my room? And it's Jonathan Jones or it's David Andrews. There's no doubt they're going to set the right example, but it might not be the exact way that this current iteration of the coaching staff and the front office want them to set it. So there was a thought in the back of my mind that maybe that was it. Maybe it was just, let's finally cut ties and let's reset, like we all said we were going to do last year, right? In New England, Gerard Mayo, he was going to build a new culture and he was going to set things up the right way and they were going to have open communication. And he preached and preached and preached, but they never actually put it into use. And I wonder if this was just Vrabel, his way of saying, we're not going to talk about it, we're going to be about it. And by getting rid of the guys who have been here before and they've done it a different way, it might be beneficial for the younger guys and just for the betterment of the team.
Yeah, could be. I agree with that. Could have been handled a lot better, though. I think you and I agree on that all the way.
Absolutely. Yeah, I think they handled it piss poor.
Terribly. And that's also like, Juwan Bentley's still on the roster. If they cut him pre-June 1st, they save 4.6. Jelani Tavares, he's no longer with the team after June 1st, they save 1.9. And I'm sure that's going to come around and we're going to maybe see that happen as more guys become available throughout free agency as well. David Andrews, 10 years with the team, 9 seasons played. Of course, he lost 2019 in blood clots. Started 14-plus games from 2016 to 2023. 2-time Super Bowl champion. Tom Brady loved him, as did every guy. Like David Andrews, one of the most liked guys, I think, ever to walk in that locker room. Dietrich Wise, Jonathan Jones, Wise, 7 seasons, 110 games, 1-time Super Bowl champion, was a 4th-round pick. Jonathan Jones, undrafted free agent, 5'9", 185, like undersized, sub 4.40 though. And hey, man, if you could run fast, Bill Belichick would take you. 132 games ended up playing, 57 PBUs, 2-time Super Bowl champion, all-time good human being too. I'd say that about all 3 of them. I'll never forget. Army, go.
I was just gonna say, in the locker room, if you talk to anybody and you said, name, some of your favorite teammates, some of the best dudes, those 3 guys, their names would come up without a doubt in my mind.
And right now the listeners are like, guys, we don't care about who you like talking to. Just
no one cares.
We want to win. Yeah. I know, I get it. I'll never forget Army-Navy game. I went to check out College Game Day. And as I'm walking through, it's just Dietrich Wise by himself walking through the parking lot of Gillette. And I'm like, that's pretty much Dietrich Wise there. All right, so about the guys that'll take over. Yeah, he is. Really good dude. Another time I went up to him, hey, Dietrich, you got some time? He put his hand out. He goes, Dietrich, nice to meet you. What's your name? I'm like, sure. Good mannerisms. I'm George. Here's Carlton Davis talking about, and this is what you want, though, guys in the locker room that were around people like Tom Brady. Here's Carlton Davis talking about Tom Brady.
Man, Tom was a great guy. I was just telling somebody earlier today that I learned so much from him, and I didn't even have too many conversations with him, but just how he carried himself, how he went about the game. He impacted us on the field and off the field in Tampa, just from not just how serious he took practice and how focused he was, but also how diligent he was in his recovery, everything he did to continue to be the same guy every day, taking care of his body. And he would give us little tips on what to do, and, just how to be a professional and how to be successful in this league and in this game. So I'm always thankful for having to share a locker room with him and having to win games and win a championship with him. I learned so much, and I'm just grateful for the opportunity.
Carlton Davis talking about Tom Brady from his time when he was with the Tampa Bay Buccaneers. That's cool to hear. I mean, Carlton Davis is going to come in, set the tone, is an ultra competitor on the outside. And that's what matters too. Like to your point, Keegan, like, all right, cool. You've won championship games. We need big culture guys who have been around leaders. Like Carlton Davis picked up stuff from Tom Brady. He'll pass that down to a Christian Gonzalez and the other guys that'll be in this DB room.
Yeah, winner, right? Carlton Davis has won everywhere he's been. It's only been 2 spots, but Tampa Bay, he helped instill that defensive identity that they had. There was a reason Tom Brady chose to go to Tampa, and it was because they had weapons and they had a really good young talent on the defense, and he was a part of that. And then when he went to Detroit, obviously, he was kind of a missing piece. They drafted a couple young guys, and while they were trying to get them implemented into the system, Carlton Davis could walk right in. He could be your CB1. He could be your CB2. He could move and he could play in the slot. So this is a guy who has shown the ability to step into a place and change the culture and also change what you're able to do on the field.
Some news, too, just coming down. Tom Pelissero reporting the Vikings are releasing their center, Garrett Bradbury. I mean, he's been a starter since he got there in 2019, so that's someone to keep track of all his time with the Vikings. 6'3", 300 pounds. Will be 30 by the start of next season, but by all accounts, seeing a snap count the last 6 seasons, has been healthy. Played over 1,100 snaps this past year. Hey, you get a little Garrett Bradbury, get a little Cam Robinson. Two guys are in the same offensive line room. Wouldn't hate it.
Yeah.
Leighton Robinson, left guard, maybe Cole Strange.
Minnesota went out there and they upgraded their offensive line, but it's not because they had a bad offensive line. It wasn't a disaster like it's been in New England. They need all the help they can get in front of a guy who we have no idea whether or not he's going to be good at the next level. JJ McCarthy is their quarterback, so they're going to put the best possible offensive line out there in front of him. They did a great job upgrading. They traded away Ed Ingram, who is a disaster. I would say he was the weak link on that offensive line, but Garrett Bradbury is not a bad player. He's been solid throughout his entire career, so I definitely wouldn't mind. You grab a guy like that, it kind of slides everybody else into the right spot.
Solid is all I want. And if Garrett Bradbury's healthy, physical checks out, by all we know, by the time this episode's up, Garrett Bradbury will be a Patriot. You heard it here first why he should fit on the Pats. A guy to talk about that is just solid, a vet. I loved his whole presser. Here's Morgan Moses talking about being that mentor and passing it down to the younger guys in the offensive line room.
It's been part of my DNA, man. I had great vets when I came into the league as Trent Williams and guys like that. And, one thing he always told me as a player coming up through this league, man, make sure you pass it down. And that's been a part of me. Obviously I had, last year I had Olu, who was a first-round draft pick, young guy, and he played multiple positions for us last year. So being able to take him and obviously just not take him and show him the way, because obviously there's certain things that he's done in college that I didn't get to do because the game has evolved so much. You wind up learning yourself, and that's the thing is like when you're competing, whether it's in any facet of life, when you get able to teach somebody and show them things and you're able to learn in that room, it makes everybody better because that guy behind you is getting better every day. So you can't be a complacent player and be that same person. You got to show up every day and make yourself better. So when you have that mentality for a room, especially for our offensive line, because we operate, as one, 5 equals 1. We never leave the field. Those are the 2 positions, quarterback and offensive line. We never leave the field. We're always on the field. We can't raise our hand and say, hey, coach, we need a water break. So it's very important for us to be able to work together, not even on the field, but off the field as well, getting to know each other, dinners and things like that, because I truly believe, if you don't know your brothers off the field, how can you go to battle with them on the field? So bringing that mentality as an older guy in the locker room and just bringing guys along and showing them the way, it's going to be a great deal for us.
Yeah, that guy sounds like a leader. Like that's what you want. Morgan Moses also, in his time talking to the media, spoke about he wakes up, works out at 4 a.m., even after agreeing to terms with Mike Vrabel, makes his sons work out with him. He spoke about sleeping in hyperbaric chambers, not just bench pressing 400 pounds, but doing yoga and Pilates. Also going to 5 a.m. treatment with the trainers and doing that right. That's a guy you want. And that's how you're about to play your 12th season in the league. Like, professional.
While missing, no time, by the way. He's as consistent as
he played with a sprained MCL he suffered in week 3 last season. He played the whole season, sprained MCL. That's what you need.
I apologize to Morgan Moses. I was unfamiliar with his game. One of the all-time dudes. Like, listening to him talk, couldn't care less if the Patriots win football games, I gotta say, to be honest with everybody. It doesn't matter to me. Listening to that guy talk, I'd run through a brick wall for him. The quote, "You don't need a miracle to win football games, you just need the right people in the building." Holy crap, man. What a guy. What a quote. A big-time fan of Morgan Moses, the person. Hope he has a ton of success. Just... that's how you do an introductory press conference. Everybody, whoever signs a contract moving forward or gets drafted, take notes, because that was unbelievable.
And yeah, it's just everything you want there. Like, sounded great. What was interesting, Vrabel did make a comment about his length, how much he loves it. 35 and 3/8 inch arms, 84 and a 5/8 inch wingspan, 6'6", 315. Okay, Kelvin Banks, 6'5", 315, 33 and a half inch arms, 84 and 3/8 inch wingspan. Will Campbell, 6'5", 320, sub 33 inch arms, sub 78 inch wingspan, which is unheard of being a tackle in the NFL with that short of a wingspan. So I don't think he was really putting anything out there. But if Kelvin Banks becomes a Patriot, I wouldn't be all the way shocked if they can't figure out left tackle spot.
Don't hate that. Maybe a trade back spot.
Could be a trade back, get more picks, get more guys, get a Kelvin Banks in there. Keegs, always fun doing this with you, man. This is a good remote rush. Appreciate you taking the time. Appreciate you guys making us a part of your day. Also, shout out to everyone that just like listening to the show. I think we're coming up on a year of doing Foxborough Rush. We started out with like nothing, no comments, no likes, no views. We're actually doing really well. Shout out to our producer, Ethan, as well. Took this thing to the next level. But I just really like genuinely thank you to people that watch this, comment, help us think of different ways, leave comments on the YouTube page. Even if you're hating on me, you keep me humble, and I appreciate it. Keegs, appreciate you. Appreciate the people that make Foxborough Rush a part of their day. We'll see you guys on Monday with a fresh episode. Later.